TJ Johnson has been a speaker many times before. In most cases, it has to do with his area of expertise, which is insurance. And he's helped us survive affordable health care and save money and get covered by insurance. He's also given some dynamite presentations on networking. And so I'm just going to get him up here to talk about anything he does. The title I gave his presentation is "The Guru is In," because he said he is going to be answering all the questions that everybody has been asking him for the last year. TJ Johnson.
Can you guys hear me? Thank you. So this presentation is a culmination of 2.5 years of working with Launchpad and Higher Texas and answering questions for the membership. This should cover roughly 70 to 80% of the most commonly asked questions that I get concerning benefits. You know, it's bad enough that you've just been laid off, you lost your income and that sort of thing, but a lot of times you lost all your benefits also. And with the lay of the land being what it is, a lot of people don't know what their options are. So this is really just about what your options are. If you have questions specifically about your situation or what you should do, then we can meet offline and meet privately. This is just kind of an overview about where you can go. I ran into a lot of people that, you know, they've been employed with the same company for 20, 25, 30 years. This is their first foray into private benefits and private insurance, and they don't even know kind of the basics behind it. So that's what this presentation is all about. So, while we're queuing up, my name is TJ Johnson. I'm a group benefits coordinator for C4 Benefits Group. We are benefits consultants, benefits planners for individuals as well as businesses. And benefits can be anything from health insurance, disability insurance, retirement planning, anything all the way down. So that's what we do as a business, as work that we will. I know what it says. So first off, for those of you that have gotten laid off or in some sort of job transition, the first thing that you get is COBRA. And just so you know, they have anywhere from 30 to 60 days to send you that letter. So if you haven't gotten your COBRA letter yet, you don't know exactly what it is that you're in for, what you're looking at. There we go.
It's still not right.
They have 30 to 60 days to send you that letter. You can always call HR and find out who the COBRA administrator is. There's a difference between HR and COBRA administrator. Whoever administrates your COBRA plan is going to be the one that's going to have information about that. If you call HR, they're probably just going to tell you you need to call the COBRA administrator. So if you're concerned about COBRA and you want to call HR because it's the only number you have, say, look, I need to know who the COBRA administrator is and who is it that I need to call over there. You have up to, generally speaking, you have 60 to 90 days to elect whether or not you want to continue on the COBRA program. A couple of things that you need to know about that, because a lot of people say, well, what I'll do is I'll just ride it out until day 89, and then if nothing happens, I won't take COBRA, and if I don't have a job by then, on day 90, I'll elect to take COBRA because it'll expire. What you need to understand is that you'll then have to pay the back 90 days worth of premiums. You'll have to pay 3 months worth of premiums all at the same time if you wait that period. Same thing with 60 days, 30 days. You're responsible to pay all of that premiums. You can't just say, okay, I want to start my COBRA today. Okay, so you need to make sure that you understand that. Next piece is going to be, I'll touch real briefly on COBRA pricing and why it works that way. COBRA pricing is based upon a group plan, right? And the group plan is a composite rating of everybody that's in that group. And it's everyone from the 21-year-old all the way up to the 65-year-old. And they take all those numbers and the insurance company crunches them all down, and they come out with a flat amount that everybody pays. Now, when you're working for the employer is required by law to pick up 50% of that. 50% of the employee's premium, right? So generally speaking, with the bigger companies, Dell, AMD, they pick up a lot more than that, plus then they pick up some percentage for your spouse and some percentage for your children also, right? So your premium is very, very, very low for what you pay per month. When you get that COBRA thing, and all of a sudden your COBRA premium is $1,400 a month, right? The reason for that is because the company's no longer subsidizing you, and they're no longer subsidizing your family. And the COBRA law states that the COBRA administrator is allowed to charge you up to 102% of the actual premium. So they can actually charge you more for the COBRA, the exact same insurance that you would be getting if you bought it on your own. So that's why the COBRA premium is so high. Good and bad points of the COBRA. COBRA is a continuation of your old plan, which means if you've already met the deductible for that year, you're probably better off staying on the COBRA because you won't have to meet that deductible again. Anytime you switch plans and you switch to private insurance or something like that, your deductible is going to start all over again for that year. So a couple of things people don't know about COBRA. You can split your policy, meaning that you as the primary need to stay on it, but you can split everybody else off it, right? You can't, for instance, though, have a kid who needs a lot of treatment and say, well, I want to leave my kid on, and I'm going to take me off because I'm more expensive. You as the primary have to be on it, but you can split everybody else off if you want to. And generally speaking, it's less expensive if you have children to insure them privately. Because remember, you're insuring your 8-year-old at the same price as a 40-year-old. Because it's all composite rating, it's all based upon one price. Check to make sure that your premiums are not subsidized. AMD does this, Dell does this, Freescale does this, but they don't tell you. So what happens is, you get your layoff notice, you get your notice, you get your COBRA continuation packet, and it says, and you look at it and you say, great, my premium is only $300. Excellent, well, I'm just going to keep that. What they're not telling you, and the package is different, Dell is typically 90 days, Freescale is typically 90 days, and AMD is typically 6 months. But they're continuing to subsidize and pay most of your COBRA premium. Which brings me to my next point, which is the COBRA trap. This is the way that the ACA and the law is structured. If, for instance, you elect to take COBRA because it's cheap, and then in 90 days you get that statement saying, the following month your COBRA premium is going to be $1,400, and you say, $1,400, forget it, I'm going to drop this and I'm going to get my own insurance. You cannot. A voluntary termination of coverage, meaning you didn't want to pay for it, you don't like it, you found something better, does not qualify under the ACA to get you a special enrollment period. I'll cover that in a minute. Under the ACA, think of the ACA or Obamacare, the PPACA, however you want to call it, is one big nationwide group plan. So a lot of the things that apply to your typical group plan under your employer also apply to the ACA. One of those things being open enrollment. If you remember, once a year you got that letter in the mail and that email from your company that said, open enrollment is going to be these dates to these dates. If you elect to make any changes or want to add or subtract anybody from your policy, you must do it within this 30 days. If you don't do it within this 30 days, you cannot make any changes for the rest of the year. The same thing applies to the ACA. Open enrollment for the ACA is November 15th to January 15th. That's it. If you do not apply and sign up for an ACA or Obamacare plan between November 15th and January 15th, you cannot sign up for insurance without what they call a QLE or an SEP. QLE is qualifying life event, SEP is special enrollment period. Special enrollment period, if you do not qualify for one of those, if you voluntarily terminate your coverage, or if your coverage is terminated for what they call non-payment, which means you just stop paying it, that does not qualify you for a QLE or an SEP. So beware of the COBRA trap, and it's something I think that's going to change over time because companies are going to get wise to this and understand that it's not. In the past they did it because it was a nice thing to do. But what's happening is a lot of people are falling into this. They're getting to their 90 days, 180 days, getting at and saying, well, I can't afford it, what am I supposed to do? And not being able to get any other insurance.
Since losing a job is a life event, how many days do you have?
Next slide. Next slide. No problem. So it's very, very important to understand, because AMD, Dell, they don't tell you in that letter that they're subsidizing. The part of your severance package is that they're subsidizing your premium. If you get a COBRA letter and you have a family of 4 and your premium is exactly the same as it was when you were working there, they're subsidizing it. Generally speaking, if you're between the ages of about 53 and about 61, I know it's a strange number, generally speaking, your COBRA number will stay about the same. And I'll cover that later on. Generally speaking, between 52 and 61, COBRA versus buying private insurance is a wash. And you're better off staying on COBRA, and I'll cover that in a minute. But if you, again, like I said, if you have a family of 4 and you're all covered and you get that letter, and your COBRA premium is exactly the same, then you need to understand that it's subsidized, and you need to call HR and say, what is my premium going to be in 90 days, and what is it going to be in 180 days? And they'll tell you. Okay? Be very, very careful. That's one of the most common things that we see is that COBRA trap, because if you terminate your coverage voluntarily, it does not qualify for your QLE. So the PPA, ACA, or Obamacare, PPA, Patient Protection Affordable Care Act, is what it's legally known as. I covered the open enrollment period. QLE or SEP, loss of a job or loss of group coverage. Yes.
Is declining COBRA right out of the gate considered voluntary termination?
No, but the qualifying life event is your loss of your job. The qualifying loss event is not loss of your coverage. So if you decline the coverage right out the gate, it's not voluntary termination of a plan. It's the loss of the job itself. It's the loss of the availability to get a group plan that is the QLE or the SEP. There's a 60-day window, 60 days before the QLE and 60 days after the QLE. So if you know for some reason you're going to get laid off on January 31st, you could theoretically apply for private coverage on November 1st or December 1st or up to March 31st of the year. 60-day window either side of the QLE, before or after. Once you're outside that 60-day window, you cannot apply.
Just quick, going back to the COBRA trap. If you hit the November 15th timeframe.
Yes, if your COBRA expires or if you terminate it between November 15th and January 15th, you can sign up for anything you want to. You don't need to have a QLE or anything like that in open enrollment for the ACA. I know there's a lot of dates thrown around. The important thing is to understand that if you lose your job or your coverage terminates, and you sign up on the 29th of the month, your coverage will still start the first of the following month. Typically under the ACA, you have to sign up on the 15th to get coverage the first of the following month. If you have a QLE, coverage will start the first of the next month, regardless of what day of the month you sign up on. You can sign up on the 31st, and your coverage will still start the first of the next month. Even if your application is not processed. So say you sign up on the 29th, and you don't get issued your new policy until the 3rd of the month, it's still retroactive to the 1st of the month. It all has to do with them, the way they collect it and that sort of thing. Under Obamacare, your premiums will come out on the 1st of the month. There is no more of that messing stuff around where you say, oh, well, I want my coverage to start on the 22nd, and then your coverage will start on your bill will come on the 22nd of the following month. Under the ACA, all policies start and all policy premiums are due on the 1st of the month. I will tell you that under the law, you have until the end of the month to pay. So if you're in that situation, we just got laid off, budget's kind of tight, you're not exactly sure where things are going to fall, you haven't gotten your first unemployment check yet, right? The law states they cannot terminate your coverage until you're 1 month late. So you can always call in and say, look, I don't have it, I'll pay you by the end of the month. Don't tell the insurance companies I said that, but it's what it is. There are premium subsidies available, right, based upon current year's income. Make sure that you understand it's current year's income. It's not what you made last year. It doesn't matter what you made last year, right? So if you made $100 grand last year and you got laid off in February this year and you're only going to make $30,000, that's what matters. What matters is what you're going to make this year. You need to understand also, though, that that money
that you're going to make this year counts any bonus, any severance, any sale of property, any sale of stocks, anything like that, right? So if you put unemployment. So if you put down that you're only going to make $20,000 and you sell your house and get a $50,000 profit, you've now made $70,000. If you, yes.
On the pre-existing conditions, they can't stop you, but what if you do have pre-existing
Doesn't matter.
conditions? Would that raise the price?
Nope. I'll cover that in a second. It also includes your spouse's income. It's household income. It's not just your income. The other thing to understand about that is that there's thresholds. There's a minimum as well as a maximum threshold. You have to make under a certain amount to qualify for a subsidy, but you also have to make over a certain amount to qualify for a subsidy. Generally speaking, the over amount is about $12,500. If you make less than $12,500, roughly speaking, what's going to happen is it's going to say that you're not eligible for a subsidy because you're eligible for Medicaid. Texas did not expand the Medicaid ranks, so you will not get Medicaid. So basically you're stuck in the black hole, what they call the Medicaid black hole, which means you don't make enough money to qualify for a subsidy, but you don't get Medicaid because Texas is one of the 22 states that didn't expand Medicaid, right? So there are creative ways to get you to that threshold. If you withdraw money out of a 401k, that counts, right? Everybody says, well, I don't want to touch my 401k. That's fine, I understand that. It's the worst possible thing you can do if you retire. But if it's going to save you $600 a month, remember, you don't have to spend that money. You can withdraw it out of your 401k and turn it right back around and reinvest it. It doesn't make any difference. All we have to do is show the government that somewhere you're drawing $12,500 worth of taxable income, right? Working off your savings does not count. The reason is because it all has to do with IRS reporting. When you're drawing out of your savings, you're not reporting anything to the IRS, so the IRS doesn't count that that's as income. Okay? It all has to do, the subsidy is all based on what the IRS reports as your income. Okay? The other way you can game the system is you can say, well, I want to draw money out of my 401k, but only when I need it. So it's a series of phone calls, but this does work. You call healthcare.gov, you say, look, I'm going to have to draw money. If I don't get a job within the next 90 days, my unemployment's going to run out, I'm going to have to draw money out of my 401k. And they're going to say, well, we need to see proof you're drawing money out of your 401k. You're going to have to get a supervisor on the phone, and you're going to say, look, I don't want to draw a lump sum out of my 401k, but this is how much I plan on drawing out over the next 6 months. If you get the right supervisor, he's going to say, well, what I need you to do then is I need you to print up a spreadsheet on Excel showing me how much you're going to draw out every month. I need you to fax that in, and you're fine. It works. Okay? Then, say you get to the end of the year and you got a job, you never drew any money out of your 401k anymore. Okay? But you need to make sure that if you get to the end of the year and you're still getting the government subsidy, that you draw that money out. But you don't have to draw it out until the very last minute, because it's all reported, it's calendar year, just like your taxes. If you're eligible for coverage through a spouse, you are not eligible for a subsidy. Even if it's $800, even if it's the worst coverage you've ever seen, anything like that. If you're eligible under a group plan through someone else in your family, typically your spouse, you are not eligible for a subsidy. If you apply and you get one, you will be penalized and you will have to pay it back. No pre-existing conditions clause. There's only 4 things under the ACA that they can base your premium on: age, tobacco use, geography, and number of people being insured. That's it. They can't disclude you for pre-existing conditions. They can't not treat your pre-existing condition, and they cannot raise your premium based on pre-existing conditions. Right? This is one of the big things under the ACA. This is why COBRA is not as important as it used to be. COBRA used to be super important because if you had a spouse or you had any pre-existing conditions and you lost your coverage, private insurance would deny you. There was nowhere for you to go. That was one of the reasons that the COBRA came about, because people were starting to get laid off and no one would cover. Under the ACA, it doesn't make any difference anymore. Under the ACA, you can also have child-only policies. In the past, before the ACA, if I said, well, I just want to get coverage of my 6-year-old, you couldn't do that. You can do that now. You can get coverage for any member of your family individually, it doesn't matter. The other important thing to understand about the penalty is that you can have a gap of up to 3 consecutive months and not pay the individual mandate penalty. So for some of you that are healthy, it may be worth running the risk, saving the money on your health insurance, and not getting health insurance. Again, that's a personal decision you have to make on your own. But you can have a 3-month gap and not be subject to the individual mandate penalty.
But if you break that 3 months, how much you miss your QLE window?
Yes. You have.
So you shouldn't wait.
If you're, again, and this is some of the counseling that I do, it depends on how you feel your job prospects are. It depends on whether you're in a situation where you're like, I got enough money in the bank, I can ride it out 6, 9, 12 months and not really worry about it. Or if you're in a situation like me where it's like, if I got laid off, if I had to go work at Target full time, I'd have to go work at Target full time, right? In which case, they would offer me benefits, right? So it's a balancing act, and that's what I do when I counsel and I talk to the Launchpad members and that sort of thing. We break it down and look at the situation, right? I say, look, where are we in terms of meeting immediate income? Where are we in terms of, if I told you your premium's $500 a month, where does that put you, right? And if the answer is, I don't have $500 a month, I don't have any savings account, I'm relatively healthy, I'm going to get a job, I'm going to hit the street, I'm going to turn in 100 applications a week, I'm going to have a job within the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, that's something that you'll have to weigh out on your own. But yes, if you wait that 90 days, you are outside of your QLE, and then you cannot sign up for private insurance. There are other options, which I'll get to. Private medical insurance. So just like you said, you need to apply within that 60-day QLE window. Please do not call me on day 59 and say, hey, I really need to sign up for life insurance or health insurance. And I say, great, I'm going to need these things. And you go, oh, it's going to take me a couple days to get those. There's nothing you can do about it. It has happened. Plans on and off the exchange. The exchange is healthcare.gov, the federally run healthcare exchange. When I talk about exchange, that's what I'm talking about. The plans are exactly the same on and off the exchange. If you think you're going to get a subsidy, then you must apply through healthcare.gov. You cannot apply just through Humana or United Healthcare or anything like that. You must apply through healthcare.gov. Most important thing is make sure you check your networks and understand your coverage. That's one of the big things that they're talking about is networks. It doesn't mean you can't see an out-of-network provider. It just means you're going to pay more if you do. What you need to understand that the exact same policy on the exchange versus the exact same policy off the exchange, the network for the on-exchange policy, your subsidized policy, is smaller. You have less choices on who you can go see. It all has to do with dollars and the way doctors get paid. That's what it has to do with. But you need to understand that you may say, well, this policy is the exact same as this one. Your network will be smaller. You can have multiple policies per family. Our family, at the time I had 2 small kids, my wife was pregnant, and then there was me, 46-year-old male, don't go to the doctor, obviously that's an absolutely have to, right? So, biggest concern with my kids was, not that something catastrophic is going to happen, but the fact that they go to the doctor all the time. So I wanted to make sure that when I went to the doctor, it was $25, right? So I got a high deductible, low copay plan, right? Wife was 9 months pregnant, didn't want to deal with anything, right? Bought her the most expensive plan out there, 0 deductible, everything covered from $1, right? As soon as we had the baby and we're out of that 90-day period, after, we switched your plan immediately to a high deductible plan because we were out of that window. You can play this game as long as you understand the numbers, right? Because I was the most expensive to insure, I took a high deductible, high copay plan because I'm not going to go anyway, so what difference does it make, right? You can play that game. You can have different policies for everyone in your family. Understand that there is then a separate deductible for everyone in the family. Okay? Which isn't as big a deal now as it used to be. The reason being is, and this is why it's very important to understand your policies. There's usually 2 deductibles. There's the individual deductible and the family deductible, right? And one of them is usually, the family deductible is usually twice what the individual deductible. The way the new plans work is everyone in the family must meet the family deductible first. So let's say it's me and my wife, and we each have a $1,500 individual deductible, right? And a $3,000 family deductible, right? So the way it used to work was as soon as I'm at $1,500, I went into co-insurance, right? Or as soon as my wife met $1,500, we immediately kicked into co-insurance. The way the insurance companies have structured it now, I'm not pro-insurance, anti-insurance, I'm just here to give you the facts. The way the insurance companies structure it now is I or her or us combined have to meet the family deductible before we go to co-insurance, period. It's one of the ways they've mitigated risk and changed the way they do it. To be very sure that you understand that the individual deductible only applies if it's just you. You're the only one on the policy. Everything else is going to be family deductible with very few exceptions. There's a few plans out there that still do the individual. Okay? Short-term medical insurance. Short-term medical insurance is used to bridge a gap in coverage. Term lengths are 1 month to 11 months. Okay? You can apply anytime. You don't need a QLE. You don't need a special enrollment period. You don't need open enrollment. You don't need anything like that. You can apply any day of the month. Coverage will start the following day. You can start on the 13th of the month. Coverage will start on the 14th. It doesn't matter. Typically, they're used to cover catastrophic events and reduce large bills. Car accidents, heart attack, stroke, anything like that. Typically, they don't cover doctor's visits. You can get ones that cover doctor's visits, give you limited copay visits and that kind of thing. But then they start to get so expensive that it really makes more sense just to get full-blown insurance. You do need to pass a minor medical questionnaire. Under the ACA, there's no medical questions that they can ask you for full-blown medical. Under short-term medical, they're going to ask you basic things about, in the last 5 years, you've been treated for cancer, heart attack, stroke, anything like that. If you answer yes to any of those, you're not going to be able to get it. Does not cover doctor's visits, does not cover prescriptions. Typically, if you're taking just some low-cost generics and that kind of stuff, you can go anywhere now, H-E-B, Walmart, Costco, and just apply and say, look, this is what I take. Without insurance, how much is it going to cost me? And typically, as long as it's some generics and some basic stuff, it's cheaper just to pay out of pocket for your prescriptions than it is to get a full-blown medical plan with prescription benefits. Just the way it works. And you don't have to belong. H-E-B, I think you pay $20 a month or $5 a month. Costco, same thing, you pay like $5 a month. Walmart, same thing. Just to be part of their prescription program. If you're taking some tier 3, tier 4 experimental, more exotic type stuff, then you really need to look at getting a medical, full medical plan that has good prescription benefits. Short-term medical does not qualify as minimum essential coverage. If it does qualify for minimum essential coverage, what that means is you're still subject to the individual penalty mandate penalty, which means you're still going to pay the tax for not having medical insurance. But typically, short-term medical, even if you pay the fine, is less expensive than getting full medical insurance. Okay? Again, this is for someone who's relatively healthy that just wants to insure against a large risk that is fairly certain that they're going to get a job within the next 3 to 6 months. Okay? It's not for everybody. These plans are very, very inexpensive. Depending upon, they're based upon your age and they're based upon the length of time, but they can start anywhere in the $30 a month range and run all the way up from there. Children's Health Insurance Program. There's this as well as Children's Medicaid. Important things to know is free health insurance for minors up to the age of 18. Certain exceptions are made up to the age of 20. It's income-based. The income limits, if you want children's Medicaid, are much, much lower than the income limits if you want CHIP. CHIP, the income limits actually run pretty high. Once you have a family of 4, family of 5, that kind of thing. You can still be making, $40, $50, $60,000 a year and still qualify for CHIP. What's important to know is that there's a 45 days, that's why I'm on the website. They can take up to 45 days to process their application. So if this is the route you want to go, you need to start the application process as soon as possible. What I recommend is, as soon as you get laid off, start the process. Whether you take it or you don't take it, it doesn't matter. You can always cancel it later. But if you wait 30 days, and then you have to wait another 45 days, now you're 2.5 months out, right? On insurance, you should have been getting it for free in the first place. Okay? Critical illness, accident, and cancer. These are policies designed to cover a specific catastrophic event, i.e. critical illness, accident, cancer. They're single lump sum payouts. So you get in a car accident, you go to the hospital, you go to the emergency room, they have to set your arm, your total bill is $7,500. They're going to pay you a cash lump payment of $7,500. You don't have to use it to pay the medical bill, you can use it for whatever you want to, but that's the way the policy works. Same thing with critical illness, is usually things like stroke, heart attack, those kind of things. Now, the payout is limited to the cost of the emergency, right? So if you have an accident policy, you have a stroke, it's not going to pay you. Okay? It can be used to cover the deductible, so it can be used to layer policies, right? You get a high deductible policy, $10,000 deductible policy, right? Because it's cheap. You end up saving a couple $100. You buy a critical illness policy that pays you $10,000 if you have a heart attack, that pays your deductible, and you can use it for whatever you want. They're single lump sum, so they're bought in blocks. They're bought in blocks of $10,000, $15,000, $25,000. If you have a $25,000 accident policy and the accident only costs you $12,500, they're only going to pay you $12,500. The remaining $12,500 stays on your policy. Once the policy is used up, once you hit that limit, $25,000, whatever your limit is, the policy disappears. It goes away. Does not count as minimum essential coverage. Very, very inexpensive. Typically, you get policies like this, $14, $15 a month. Again, if you're relatively healthy and you're like, look, I'm not going to go to the doctor anyway, I'll be up and running fairly quickly, but I want to make sure that I don't go bankrupt and have to sell the house if something catastrophic happens. These can be a good way to go. There's no underwriting. There is on some of the cancer, they want to make sure you're not cancer, you're not being treated for cancer or something like that. Just going back to the pre-existing conditions, during open enrollment this year, I did sign up people that were currently going through cancer treatment, chemotherapy, and they got policies issued and that kind of stuff, so it's fine. They switched from a very high deductible, very bad plan to the most expensive plan out there to get coverage from $1. There's nothing the insurance company can do about it, except rumble down there from your doctor. Dental insurance. You can get dental insurance any time of the year, any day of the year, any weather of the year. It doesn't make any difference. Okay? COBRA coverage is probably going to be less expensive. You can elect to keep your dental and your vision and cancel your medical under COBRA. Generally speaking, dental insurance is pretty inexpensive anyway, but generally speaking, your COBRA is probably going to be a few dollars cheaper. Does not have to be tied to your health insurance policy, right? You can cancel everything, you can sign up for health now and get dental later, or however you want to mix and match. It's important to understand if you switch from your COBRA plan to a brand new private dental plan, your elimination period is going to start over again. So if you're in the middle of getting some work done, or think you're going to need some work done right away, you're better off staying on COBRA and paying whatever the COBRA price is. Typically under dental insurance, there's an elimination period for major things, crowns, even sometimes fillings and that kind of stuff, of 6 to 12 months. So the insurance company can get their money.
If you have COBRA and you have medical and dental, can you cancel the medical and keep the dental?
Yes, you can mix and match and split your plan however you want to. The only thing you cannot do is you cannot take the primary off of anything and keep it, right? So you can't say, oh, my kid's going to have braces, I want to keep them on dental, but I don't want it anymore. The primary always has to stay on there. Other than that, you can split any type of policies around any way you want to. Vision insurance, same thing as dental. It's not tied to your health insurance. Get it any day of the week, any time of the year. Doesn't make any difference. Again, COBRA is probably going to be about the same price. Dental insurance, if you look at the breakdown of your insurance, it's probably only like $9, $18 or something like that a month anyway, right? If you've already had your annual checkup, remember, vision insurance, your checkup is good for a year, your prescription is good for a year. And if you're a little bit older and you've been stable for a while anyway, you may want to, if the $15 a month is going to make a difference for you, then I would cancel it, right? Again, you can always go to most of the big retailers, Walmart, Costco, they have their own kind of plan anyway, right? Or they'll give you a discount or something like that. I just had my eyes checked, it was $65. That was without insurance, right? So, doesn't have to be tied to health insurance policy. Life insurance. Generally speaking, if you have your life insurance through your business, through your company, right, it's typically a multiple of your salary for the person employed, and then sometimes they'll either give you a flat amount, they'll throw it in, $10,000, $25,000, something like that, for your spouse, right? And sometimes you can buy up to $50,000, $100,000 for your spouse, right? You're going to lose all of your salary-based insurance when you leave, or when you get laid off, right? Or it's going to be extremely expensive, right? Most of you don't shop for life insurance all the time. I will tell you that if they say all of a sudden that you're $250,000 and now it costs you $60 a month, that's way more than you should be paying for $100,000 a month. It's always cheaper if you're in good health to reapply under private. Especially in the last about 5 to 8 years, life insurance prices have come way, way down. Your COBRA's probably going to include that small amount, that $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, whatever it is they throw in for free. It's probably going to be included in the COBRA coverage. Generally speaking, that doesn't go away. Low-cost individual life insurance available anytime, any day, any year. Healthcare.gov, 1-800-318-2596. ChipMedicaid.org is the CHIP website. It'll have all there on how to apply, what the income is, everything like that. That's my email address, tjjohnson4bg.com. That is my office number down there. Couple of things about all these types of insurance. Understand that in private insurance, whether it's life insurance, disability insurance, dental insurance, vision insurance, anything like that, it's all a unilateral contract. You're not locked in anything. You cancel it at any time, right? So if you're like, well, I want to sign up for this stuff, I don't want to go uninsured, and then you get a job in 30 days, doesn't matter, just cancel, okay? Same thing on the short-term medical. Generally speaking, you buy a block of time, right? If you cancel before that block of time is up, they refund your money, whatever the prorated premium is for that backside, okay? If you go through healthcare.gov, if you're not going to get a subsidy, there's no reason to put yourself through the headache and the bureaucracy of healthcare.gov. It's just a nightmare, okay? If you are going to get a subsidy, it's well worth it. I've seen premiums as low as 7, 8 cents a month, okay? It's all based upon your income. I've seen free premiums, okay? Generally speaking, your average person pays, it looks like about 80 to about 120 bucks a month for insurance on healthcare.gov. That's including your subsidies, right? I do not email out quotes. Please do not call me and say, can you just email me some quotes? I don't do that. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of your time. You can go to healthcare.gov and say, see plans and prices, and you can punch in all your information. It'll all come up there. Okay? If you're extremely savvy in healthcare, you'll understand. If not, you're going to call me anyway and you're going to say, I don't understand what all this means. Just remember that I can send you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of quotes. I can send you quotes all day, but it doesn't, if you don't understand it, it doesn't make any sense. Okay? There's a sign-up sheet in the back. If you have specific questions, if you want me to contact you, sign up in the back. If you want to contact me, that's my contact information. There's no cost to meet with me. I'm not going to try and sell you anything. It doesn't matter. I've been meeting with people here for 2.5 years. You can talk to other people in here that I've met. Okay? Any questions?
I have a question. You covered COBRA for larger companies. Do you have any information on state continuation?
State continuation runs basically the same as COBRA. It's the same period of 18 months. You're still going to get your ladder, and it's the same basic deal. State continuation is for companies that are under a certain amount of employees, right? They don't fall under COBRA administration. They fall under state continuation.
Thank you.
Just you know. But it's the same rules apply. Big things to take away from this: be aware of the COBRA trap. Right? Particularly if you're coming out of high tech, right? And understand there's different QLEs. You don't have losing your job as moving counts as QLE. Okay? Same 60-day window, but it counts as QLE. Having a child, getting divorced, anything like that, they all count as QLEs, and they all apply to the same. You still get that same 60-day window. Okay?
Turn 65, COBRA ends.
Yes.
They cancel you. So you have to be aware that means not just your COBRA, but your family's COBRA gets canceled.
If you're the primary.
So the question is primary. You then have to go to Medicare for yourself, you're gonna have to put your family on the ACA.
Yeah, it's a good point. If you turn 65 and not only that, not only COBRA terminated, if you turn 65 and you're getting a subsidy from the ACA, under the ACA, that plan will terminate. They'll automatically kick you to Medicare. Okay? So don't come up on that window and say, oh, I like this insurance better. You can reapply, right? And still carry private insurance, but you won't get a subsidy. Because they want you on Medicare, it's a different pool of money that the government draws. That's all.
Healthcare subsidies based upon this year's income or last year's income?
It's based on your current year's income, and it can be estimated. Because a lot of people tell me, well, I don't know what I'm going to make, right? There's a couple things when you go through there that are going to be confusing. When you get to the income page, and it says, name your source of income, and you put in unemployment, right? And you're getting you're maxing it out at $460 a week, so it's $820 or $1,800 something a month, right? And then you're going to punch it in, and it's going to do the calculations and spit it out at the bottom. There's ways that has to be entered, because what the computer does is it automatically defaults. You're going to get that for 12 months, right? You're like, well, wait a minute, that's not going to be my income. That's way too high, because you're only going to get unemployment for 6 months or something like that, right? So there's ways you have to work that calculator. You have to go into, you have to enter it either as a lump sum, or you have to enter in half that amount, so that instead of calculating for 6 months, it calculates half that amount for 12 months. It's just one of the glitches that's in there. It's the same thing if you get a bonus, right? So you got a severance check for $15,000. What's going to happen when you enter that in is two things. If you enter it in as, I got $15,000 this month, it's going to calculate it out for 12 months. It's going to give you $180,000, okay? So you need to make sure that you do it as lump sum. The other thing that it's going to do, and this is weird, but you can just leave it that way because this is the way it does it, is that sometimes it'll take that $15,000 and show it that you got it, that you're going to get 12th of that in the next 12 months. It's just the way the calculator works. Just make sure that you understand how you're putting money in there, okay? And same thing if you're going to draw money out of your 401k or something like that, right? If you put in lump sum, and say I'm going to take out 20 grand lump sum, right? And then you have to send in proof of income. And you send in something that says, well, I only took out $1,500 this month. They're going to kick it back and they're going to say, no, you said that you took out, where did this $20,000 come from? So you need to make sure that you understand how to work the numbers, right? I'm more than willing to sit down with you and show you how all of that works, okay? This is a small thing, but it may matter to some of you, it matters to me because it's annoying. If you start a healthcare.gov account, not an application. If you just enter in your numbers to see if you get a subsidy or not, right? For the rest of the time, during open enrollment, you are going to constantly get reminders that you have not signed up for health. Once you create an account in healthcare.gov, I did it in the first year just to see what it looked like, right? You can never get rid of that account. It doesn't mean you have to sign up for insurance group. It doesn't mean you ever plan on signing up for insurance group. You can never get rid of that account, and every year you're in open enrollment, you're going to get something that says, why haven't you signed up for health insurance? Just so you know, it's annoying. I still get it. Okay? Once you started it, that's what I'm saying. If you're not going to get a subsidy, and you can get on there and punch up, right, without starting an account, and find out whether you're going to, pretty close whether you're going to get a subsidy, right? If you're not going to get a subsidy, don't create an account on healthcare.gov. You can see all the plans and prices. You can run a subsidy calculator. You can do all of that stuff without ever starting an account on healthcare.gov. I recommend you do that first. You can see all the plans and prices. Any plan that is shown on healthcare.gov is available off healthcare.gov. There are no plans that are off healthcare.gov that are not available on healthcare.gov. It's the law. Okay? So if you underestimate your income, right? So say for instance you put down that you're going to make $22,000 a year because you don't know when you're going to get a job, and that's what unemployment and what you've made combined with what you've made so far this year, right? And 6 months into the year you get a great job, now all of a sudden you're going to make $80,000. First thing you need to do, which is very important, it is your responsibility, your responsibility to call healthcare.gov and tell them you had a change in income. They're not going to call you. They don't care. Okay? They will continue to pay that subsidy to you until you call in and report. If you get to the end of the year and you have not reported and you made $80,000 a year, based upon your family size, you're going to owe that money back. It's not dollar for dollar. It's prorated, and it's prorated for the amount of money that you got. If you win the lottery and make $1 million, yes, you will owe it all back. The threshold is 400% of federal poverty level, which I think for family of four is like 120 or something like that. So if I estimate I'm going to make $60,000 and I get a subsidy, and then all of a sudden I make $120,000, yes, you will owe every penny of that subsidy back. And you will owe it back when you file your taxes. If for some reason I estimate 60 and I make 75, I'm going to owe some of it back. But remember, it's very, very important that you call healthcare.gov and report the change. And that includes anything. You sell your house, you get an inheritance, anything like that. Any income, except life insurance is taxed. Any income that you get at all that's taxed, you have to report it. You have to report it as a change in income. Make sense?